your ball in the trees and then you lip out the puck. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us, 'cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
Hello, and welcome down to another episode of the Rough Cut Golf Podcast, which comes to you after an absolutely monumental week in the game of golf. So much to talk about. We have Jacob, and we have Kieran, and we have myself here in the studio in Manchester. If you can hear some rain in the background, that is because our roof is currently being pelted.
And we live in Manchester.
And we live in Manchester. So by this point, it should be like a nice sound in the background.
Atmospheric, yeah.
All we want to be is just like authentic and genuine to where we are.
Well, it's like, you know how some people like to fall asleep with the rain, don't they? They put it on. That's what I'm thinking we're doing here. We're just like, it's soothing, it's a bit more relaxing.
Right.
I'm just trying to turn it into a better situation than it actually is. That's
okay, so if you do fall asleep listening to this podcast...
it's the rain, not us.
Yeah, we'll go with that. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the President's Cup. We're going to be talking about the Spanish Open. And we're also going to be talking about Hurricane Helene, which is kind of wreaking havoc in the States at the moment. But it's also battering a lot of golf courses. Obviously, this is a golf podcast. We will not go into the ins and outs of a natural disaster too much because it's really depressing. So... first of all, hello, welcome. Kieran, how are you? You've not been on for a while. You've been
very
away.
good. Yeah. 2 weeks off, I think. So, it's good to be back. Lovely.
Welcome. Oh, you were in Scotland, weren't you? Kind of came...
What? Scotland?
The last one. The
last
one.
Oh,
we were
right.
in.
Up St Andrews. Yeah.
That seems like so long ago.
That does.
It was
seem like
long
a
ago.
long time ago.
When was it? It's like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, like
That's
2.
so far away.
Literally 2 weeks ago. 14 days ago.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's not that long ago.
God, world moves fast. One of the reasons is because we have literally so much coming up in October, which we'll get onto in a moment. Other things that have happened, video going to be coming out very soon about the Manchester Open. If you are a long-term listener to the podcast, you will know that we talk about Didsbury Golf Club quite a lot as a base for many discussions around golf. And the Manchester Open was held at Didsbury Golf Club last week. I played, Kieran filmed, and we had a wonderful time. How do you feel your home course stood up to the challenge, Kieran?
Well, obviously, 2 days before in the run up to it, I think it pelted it down, absolutely pelted it down. So I was very, very worried. Obviously, it being right by the River Mersey, on a floodplain, the worst things possible. It was, I think it done quite well, to be honest. There was a couple of greens that were a little bit spongy, maybe a couple of fairways also that were a little bit, damp. But I actually thought it was a lot better than what it could have been. But yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried.
Yeah,
I must admit. So it is a wet golf course, and obviously you get people coming in from literally all over the country to play this event.
Yeah.
I was concerned, but it did hold up pretty well. I think the only issues that we had, you might see this in the video, is like I said, with some of the greens. Some of the greens quite soft, and some of the greens quite hard.
Right.
So the second day was a lot easier to judge what was going to happen when the ball.
Did you make notes like soft green, hard green?
I couldn't get it out of my head. To be honest with you, it was there seared onto my short-term memory.
Yeah.
And it's a 36-hole comp. There was no cut, so we made it through to the second day. Go us.
No ranking points then.
And actually, I think the second round, especially, is probably one of the wildest rounds of golf that you're going to see from me this year. Eagles, birdies, bogeys, everything. Mm-hmm. I almost killed 2 people.
Yeah, in 2 holes.
That's not good.
I was on form. Nothing to do with the ball.
Yeah, can you also just confirm not intentionally, right?
They just really annoyed me.
Right.
One I just pulled the tee shot and it just missed someone's head. Apparently, we couldn't see.
Right.
We yelled for.
Yeah,
we
shouted.
There was a tee box over there, but apparently it just missed someone who wasn't very happy. Which can't really do anything about.
You're on a golf course. You did your job. I understand, but
it's just annoying. And then I tried to play a very fancy shot, hit a tree which was about 2 foot in front of me, and this thing curved towards one of my playing partners like it was seeking him out.
Yeah.
It was
like a missile, sort of like.
Yeah, it was like a proper swerving missile straight at him. Managed to get out of the way. Honestly, just watch it. It's an absolutely wild round, but it actually turned out to be a really good one. Which moved me considerably up the leaderboard. Great scoring as well. Some really good plays there. And I really can't wait for you to watch the video. So that's coming. Generally in October, I think this might be our best ever month.
In terms of
Filming and the trips that we're going on, I think this month is the best that we're ever going to have. And even though it's not our video, we are going to the States. We're going to film a video as well.
Yeah.
And take part in an event, I suppose, which I think is going to be... I don't want to say it's going to be like genre defining, because it's so pretentious and it's definitely not true. But apart from Bryson and Trump, I reckon it's going to be the biggest YouTube video this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, I can definitely see how we might be having that conversation when the videos come out. I think it maybe not grow as quickly as that, because that was insane.
Honestly, I think it will.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think at the end of this year, people are going to say it was the Trump Bryson video, the Creator Classic,
and then this. Okay. Yeah. No, I
probably should have checked to see if we could talk about it properly.
Yeah, but
first,
we're not really saying anything, are we?
And if it doesn't come off,
we're doing that really annoying thing where we're talking about it, but no one, not actually giving any context or any. But
stay tuned. Middle to late October, you're going to have your socks knocked off in a good way. And also, like I said, we're going to the States. We're going to France next week. And then that's being backed up in November with more kind of trips. It's just going to be such an amazing end to the year.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the videos. I'm really kind of pumped up to see what we can make and do. And then just leading into the end of the year and then going into next year, that everything's just gathering so much pace. And I'm really, really interested to see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think next year is going to be our year, you know.
I think this year was our year. Every year's our year.
No,
not good enough.
This year, as far as like views and interactions and growth and everything, has been great. It's been one of the best ones we've had.
But it's not like our year. It's not like
Next year's our year.
Peter Finch golf defining year. Like next year, if there was an award ceremony, you would win Golf Content Creator of the Year or something.
Next year, in December, more than this year. At the end of this year, we're all going to be able to stand on a hill, look out at what we've done and say, you know what, lads?
Yeah,
it's been a good year. Like, we smashed it this year. Done really well. And the next year, we're going to stand on a mountain.
Looking over our kingdom.
All that we survey.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough of me licking my own arse. So we've got the Head Pro Series, which is going to be out yesterday, which is Wales.
Correct, yeah.
Which, again, please watch it. Biggest crowds of the trip?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Do you think? I don't know. Was it Scotland?
That was Scotland. Yeah.
Those first three, I don't think it was England, though England was good. Those first three all kind of look similar and look like they were kind of a similar size. But I do think that Scotland just nicked it. But either way, all three to start have been so well attended.
I mean, with all the videos that we did, we had drone footage which kind of shows all the crowds. So I think Jacob should maybe do a head count on
Do
that.
a head count.
I'll do a little,
Yeah.
Okay. I'll come back next week with the numbers.
Surely that's something AI can do by now.
Probably.
Just count the people in this photo.
Yeah. I'm sure we can.
We'll do that. And then also, if you haven't already, if you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to us wherever you're journeying in your car, please follow the podcast. And if you're not subscribed, not even seen us on YouTube, head over there as well. Want to try and up the numbers on the YouTube channel as well. So I think that's pretty much everything that we've got to talk about for us.
Yeah.
Yep.
But in the world of golf, things have been kicking off.
Yeah, there was a lot, wasn't there?
First of all, President's Cup. If you're not sure what the President's Cup is, it is the rest of the world, i.e. not Europe, versus the USA in a Ryder Cup style format. Slightly different. There's a few more points available, I suppose. But the overall vibe is exactly the same. Now, the international team has not got a good record in this event since it was established in 1994. They've only won one time. One more has been tied, and then the rest have been US. US have won now the last 10, I think.
Yeah.
And they won at Royal Montreal 18.5 to 11.5. Keegan Bradley, next year's Ryder Cup captain, actually picked up the winning point, even though he did his best to lose it.
Yeah. Tried not to
half
be.
it.
Yeah.
I managed to watch pretty much all of it, apart from the last things on Saturday.
I think I pretty much watched all of the first 2 days. Didn't watch maybe as much on the Saturday. But I tried to get in as much because I was really excited for this, and I on last week's episode did kind of try and toot the horn of the international team a little bit. Rightly or wrongly, it was very out of tune, but
I don't want to say I told you so.
yeah, well, I think I knew. It's just, I was trying to, because I do like this event and I want this event to be good, but it's like, say, 10 in a row now. It's just almost complete dominant. Like, I don't know how many kind of ongoing records there are in golf, but kind of the US team holding 10 years in a row must be like the longest serving, winning streak.
It could have been a lot worse.
Could have been, yeah.
As well.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
after that first day.
US won the first day 5-0. This is one really good thing that happened though. So the US won the first day 5-0, like uncontested in the matches, absolutely smashed it, played great golf. But also the international team didn't play great golf, so it was a real mismatch. Then in the foursomes the next day, the internationals came back and won 5-0. That is the first time in Ryder Cup, Solheim, President's Cup history that's ever happened.
I'm not surprised,
It's
because
crazy,
that
isn't it?
is crazy, yeah.
Which is really, really cool. And you thought, like, right, that's
it now.
That's it. We've actually got a proper event. But in my opinion, certainly watching it, match play golf is always great because it turns up unexpected results. You get players, someone like, in all respect to Ian Poulter, he's had a successful Tour Pro career.
Yeah.
But he's not up there with some of the other people who've played in Ryder Cups. I think that's fair.
That's
to say.
fair,
I think that's fair.
But when the Ryder Cup comes around, like, he was unbelievable in that event.
Yeah.
It turned him into a completely different animal. And the international team needed about 6 Ian Poulters in that team, with the greatest respect, and it just didn't happen. Like, the US were really never going to lose that event. So, yeah.
There was a bit of fight. There was a bit of glimpse, and then just kind of went away by the end of the last day, didn't it? It was just
Just it never felt, apart from that second day, obviously.
Yeah.
It never felt close to me. Even though there wasn't a huge point difference going into that into the singles, it was enough that you felt.
Yeah, it was enough to be okay. The USA have probably got this wrapped up, because again, when you go down to especially America in the singles as well, but then you get to that point where you are just going 1v1 and you're going down the list and you're ticking them off, and you can just see the heavy hitters down the American side, and then the internationals, it just starts to get a little bit more empty and a little bit more loose. The only thing I'd say this year was there was more anger. It was more like animosity between the two teams. Like, I don't really think or picture the President's Cup to be really like have a lot of needle, but there was quite a lot of moments. I mean, Tom Kim was kind of the sort of ringleader of this a little bit, and I think he's almost tried to take on this role in the President's Cup of being not necessarily the villain, but like he wants to be the hype man, the guy who gets the international team amped up, and it maybe came back to bite him a little bit, especially him and Siwoo.
Well, he did it 2 years ago. He was kind of like the hype man as well, and sort of taking that lead as well. So he's just sort of really taking it on this year, and I love it.
I love it as well.
Yeah, it felt this year he took it on, like took it to another level, but got burnt.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
And you could see that on the Sunday. He just, certainly to begin with, he wasn't as expressive as he had been. And I think he was saying that at one point, like, he was being cursed at by some of the US team.
Yeah.
Didn't actually say who it was. And then the US team obviously around said, well, we don't know really what he's talking about there. And it kind of it did look like he was a bit, not hurt exactly, but there is a rule, certainly in match play, certainly in team sports like that. If you're gonna give it, you've got to be able to take it.
Yeah.
And it felt like once he started getting some stick back, I thought he didn't quite like it.
Yeah,
which is fine, fair enough. No one likes to be shouted at.
I don't picture Tom Kim being like that.
No,
like, I know that, like I say, if he wants to give it out, but then I can I could appreciate if he's getting it back and not enjoying it. That, to me, is not surprising. I just think he seems so lovable. Yeah. And like, he wouldn't want to be that guy.
He genuinely seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And like, genuinely seems a nice guy who like pushed himself right to the edge.
Yeah.
Kind of looked over and didn't like what he saw.
What did you think of when him and Siwoo walked away when Scotty was putting? Did you think, like, because the way I saw it, I just thought that was like a ploy just to kind of, something to get in his head of like over a putt. Like, maybe like rightly or wrongly, but in match play in these things, like in these situations, you do kind of use the little sort of tactics and
the dark arts.
Yeah.
100%.
For me, it's never gonna that just doesn't work, especially with someone like Scheffler.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of forget with Scheffler. Scheffler he's a nice guy as well. Like clearly everyone says so, but there's so many times this year where you can see like he's got the dog in him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
And he has to be. Like, he's the best player in the world. Like you can't do that unless you've got like something inside you that you can flick a switch on.
He's a felon.
He is a felon. he's a criminal. And you could just see that, like, as soon as that happened, and then a few holes later, when he held that putt, he turned around and gave it to him. Like,
Yeah.
you just don't poke the bear like that.
I was, again, Siwoo when he chipped in, which was unbelievable, and then just started storming around the green doing that night celebration. I loved that. Like, it was great, but then you just know if you do not win that match, you are going to get it in the back, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
That one for me felt a bit.
But I don't know if they know how to react. It was even when he holed his par putt to win 5-0 on that second day. He holed it, and then it kind of didn't know what to do. Then he sort of ran around and did a couple of fist bumps. I don't know what it is.
I think that's golfers in general, though. I genuinely think that's golfers. Like they don't, other than Tiger. I think everyone kind of doesn't really have a proper celebration sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
Which is fine because like these events obviously don't come around very often.
well, no, exactly.
They're not prepared for this.
No, so when you get like pumped up like that, like they're never going to do that if they hole a 6 foot. Imagine holding a 6 foot putt to win the Travellers and then doing that around the green. Bit weird.
Exactly.
That would be a bit weird. But with it just felt a bit too much for me.
Okay.
Like I said, like you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that and then not go on to win, or you can't do that and then not go on to like be a dominant force.
Also, like what he did would have been a perfect thing if he'd done that on the last and won, or that was to end the match, or that was. You don't do the night thing of being like, because you'd be like, it's over now, like you go to sleep. Exactly. So it's like you've given them an opportunity to not only come back, but then do it back to you. Like I get what he was trying to do. It was just it wasn't the right thing.
It brought out. Like doing something like that as well, it kind of brings out sometimes the negative in kind of most people. Like at the end of the day with Wyndham, this is Wyndham Clark.
Oh yeah,
and he was just like saying night. Yeah,
night. So he was doing.
And
it.
he was doing saying night, Siwoo. And it was like, this is so awkward. That it's like it depends because team sports are great. They bring out this emotion, and like in golf, it's not a normal week to week thing. It just I don't know. In my head, I'm still thinking this is still golf. Like, do we need it to be that over the top? I don't know. I'm not sure. They obviously got carried away, but I'm just getting old on it.
Well, like I said, they didn't get the opportunity to kind of express how they don't really get to do like team golf much. So like when they can have that opportunity, they probably give it a bit more, and then also are a bit more expressive sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
And probably as well with the certainly international team. Everyone has said exactly the same thing going into this. Like, you're going to lose. You're the underdog. You're not going to win. Mm-hmm. So maybe they feel like a bit of backs against the wall type of vibe, fighting.
What do you think like needs to change to make the President's Cup a little bit more like competitive?
I mean, this year they didn't have any of the live players in.
Yeah.
Now, President's Cup is owned by PJ Tour.
Yeah.
So getting live players in that event was always going to be tricky with everything that's still going on. But you can't have players like Neiman, Burmester, Cam Smith, Answer, Oosthuizen, Leishman, like Lahiri. Those kind of players, they're not locks for that team.
You can make a good team just from the live.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And there's so much talent there that you can't have an international team without the best international players and expect it to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
That this team events, and the reason why people love the Ryder Cup, the Solheim Cup, whatever it is it brings all the best players into one field, into one pot, playing for a flag, not playing for themselves. And you can't really do that when an entity which operates the President's Cup in the PGA Tour won't allow some of those best players in.
Yeah.
Completely understand why, but it lessens the event.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it as appealing. It doesn't make it as engaging.
Yeah.
Like it just simply made the whole kind of prospect of what that event was going to be is, just less.
Not to say that obviously having these guys in would have meant they were going to win, or maybe it would have been closer. But it is like that kind of, you'd imagine it's, if like in a race, like a 100-meter running race, and when Bolt was about, like if Bolt wasn't there, you'd kind of say, oh, well, he won, but Bolt wasn't, it's sort of like, if they had that extra part of it, do you know what I mean, though? Like, it just sort of...
Taylor Gooch wasn't playing for the US team
That's
either,
true,
so...
So, they have an asterisk as well.
Yeah, so in fact, thinking about it, actually...
One of the things that I've seen mentioned quite a lot, and I'm definitely probably coming round to the idea, is if they were to change it so that it was a mixed event. So you had it, I don't know how you would break down the numbers of players if you would just do it as 6 men, 6 female. But if you think of like the firepower on that like LPGA side in terms of the Asian ladies that are playing, it would definitely balance it out, I think, a lot more, or at least bring it closer. And I think it's an event that genuinely, if it's not a President's Cup, I think it's an event I'd want to see happen anyway. I'd like to see that mixed. I know they've started to do it a little bit. Obviously, they've got the Grant Thornton on the Lynn Grant's won the Scandinavian mixed a couple of times. If they want to try and balance the books a bit, I think that's how they would have to do it. But I don't know if they will.
Well, one issue, and I mean this genuinely, one issue with having certainly an international ladies team, and I think quite a few of the US Solheim Cup players have said this, is they get battered. Like the rest of the world team, the international team on the ladies' side would be unbelievably strong.
Yeah.
They just destroy everybody.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, how would you get that balance? But that's one part of the team aspect that's definitely, if you think about the growth and the amount of amazing players on an international women's team, how they're not being represented at an event is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be brought forward. But we've all said this, we all have this conversation all the time, like more team sports, more things like this will just help the game grow a little bit more. The problem is, where does it go? Like, does the President's Cup stay, but then another event is added where it's mixed? Is it Europe, US, rest of the world? Like, is it a 3-team kind of event? That all these possibilities are out there. They're floating around. Obviously, it takes somebody to bring them together. And golf is so fractured at the moment. Professional golf is so fractured. I don't really see how they could make another change right now.
Yeah. There's no room for change yet.
No, just imagine like everyone coming out saying, "Oh, by the way, next year, 2 more team events."
Yeah.
Your head would pop off.
It would. I wouldn't necessarily be upset about it because I love this team stuff. But it just, it doesn't feel like it's the time for it yet. And I don't think they don't want to change it. I think they're still clinging on to the fact that the international side will make a better showing at some point and eventually win one soon. But how can you can you assume that will happen?
Yeah.
Like, it just,
You can't. I mean, there's something definitely not quite working when the entire continent of South America isn't represented.
yeah. I mean, obviously through the live guys being banned, that didn't help.
Yeah.
But still,
Like, that's a big part of the world.
It's a massive part of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a big part of the
It's
world.
huge.
Yes,
You know what
it
I mean?
is. Yeah.
It's not very like
Look on a map. It's massive.
you wouldn't associate much of like South America being sort of like, a huge golf place though, innit, sort of thing. So obviously it's produced some amazing players, but not as on the scale of like, other international areas. So
Well, not like obviously, in North America, South America. If you compare that divide, it's obviously huge.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I know what you mean, but like, there are so many good players. Right? You just want to see them all play. I just want to see them all play together.
Yeah.
I just want to see them all play together.
It's the same statement we've made at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Just like, just get everyone back together again.
Something which is confusing about President's Cup. Last thing we'll kind of touch on here. Royal Montreal.
Yeah, weird one.
I don't get it. I don't get. Like, if you have a look at the President's Cup and the courses that they've been played at, I think Royal Montreal's appeared 3 times. I think with an international one, you've had Royal Melbourne, which I think is 3 times. You've had similar courses in the US, like Robert Trent Jones. I think that to start with hosted 3 in a row. And I don't know. Like, you've got a team competition. I don't know why it's not been spread around more.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it? And even, I mean, we mentioned it on the first day. Like, obviously, hosting it in Canada, You would have. I mean, that's obviously a lot easier for the Americans to get to.
Yeah.
You'd always think that there would be Americans in Canada anyway that would be going over. Canadians are the loveliest people in the world,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like stereotypically known to be.
It got a bit more chirpy, you know.
It did, yeah.
I was surprised. I thought they'd be super, super polite, but they were giving it a little bit.
Yeah, but they did it and then they apologised
Oh, yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I'm going to say this every time a team sport comes up. I'm genuinely worried about Brookline, about Beth Page
What, for us?
and the US crowd.
For the,
Oh,
for the
right,
US
oh,
crowds,
yeah.
because of the New York crowds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
genuinely worried.
That's good though. Like a good worried or like
like a bad word.
Oh, bad word,
Like
like-
it's going to tip the scale.
yeah.
They're not going to go back
I
again.
like that though. I like that.
I'm not sure. I mean, hopefully we'll be there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit worried. Anyway, we'll see. So next up, there were other professional golf events going on this week, which we don't cover all the time, but the Spanish Open, I think, has to be. So, Angel Hidalgo.
Never heard.
Doesn't
of him
hold
before.
back.
Yeah.
I've never seen him play
I've
before
never
this
seen him
week.
play, no.
So he's a young Spanish player who absolutely tears the backside off a golf ball.
Yeah.
He goes at everything full pelt. He just plays it seemingly completely on the edge at all times.
Yeah.
Nothing held back. It's all go, all the time. He's got such flair. You know, you see the passion that he has. It was him, Jon Rahm, and David Puig. Honestly, I swear to God, it was pronounced 64 different times in the commentary.
Yeah.
David. And they were there. They were 3 Spaniards going for the Spanish Open. And Jon Rahm and Angel Hidalgo were in the playoff eventually. But Hidalgo yipped a putt on the first green. And he yipped a putt on the last green. And you kind of thought, how do you, like... It was the kind of yip and the kind of miss. The putt to win it on the last was about 3 foot. And he could have had 1.5 holes. And he'd have missed it.
Mm-hmm.
It missed by miles. And I was like, oh, that's not
You
good.
don't win from here.
You don't win from there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't recover from that.
Yeah.
Like, your nerves are shredded. And then he just comes back and beats Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm, who's
Yeah.
going for a record of Spanish Opens to beat Seve, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So he really wanted it.
4, I want to say. He would have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
And that's 2 second places in a row now, isn't it? He was second last year, I believe, as well. Because Pavon won last year.
Yeah,
Pavon
so he
I
gets
won
won
second.
one last year. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. I just love the event. I mean, National Opens as a whole are great.
Yeah.
When they're done right. When they're done right, National Opens are the best thing because they've got the heritage, they've got the history. And it's something that, I don't know, just sets the DP world apart.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would say so. I mean, is the DP World Tour like the best tour to watch?
If they do things like this, yeah. Because ultimately, the PGA Tour, for example, has the best players, probably. Like, Liv has, again, some of the strongest now. But, you know, Liv isn't about the courses that they go to. And there's no heritage within those events. You know,
No.
they've only been going 3 years.
Yeah.
But, like, when you get events on the European Tour, DP World Tour, I'm just going to keep calling it European Tour because that's what it is. When they go to somewhere like Spain, which has held this Open Championship for decades and decades, when they go to France, which I think might be the next on the list, National Open,
Yep.
the Italian Open, you know, the British Masters, for example, these events just bring something completely different. In the greatest respect, if you go from Tennessee to, I don't know, Virginia,
That's a place in America.
you don't really know the difference when you watch it through TV.
No.
Like, but if you went from the Spanish Open, and let's say Spanish Open was held somewhere like, I don't know, Valderrama, for example, and you went from there and you went to the Irish, which is at Royal County Down,
Yeah.
they are so different.
Yeah.
And like, they bring out so much different golf and different shots and different interests, different weathers, different views, different vibes altogether, that it is probably the most compelling watch as far as any tours. But God, they need the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as well, like the narratives that you get off that off that tournament and that tour, is kind of anything different than on the PGA. There are those, you know, those comeback guys or those people that win that you learn about. Oh, he was, you know, something happened or whatever. But in the DP World Tour, because there's so many more, I guess, unknowns, I suppose. You're always learning about these people all the time, and you're learning these stories and narratives about, like, you know, this is what they did. And I'm say, like, Hidalgo, I've seen the name. I've never seen him swing a golf club. I didn't know much about him.
Remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I saw a photo of Jon Rahm and him, Hidalgo.
Together,
When
when
they
he was
were
younger.
really young, and like Rahm was like twice the size of him.
It still is.
It still is.
I think I've seen, because he was at the Spanish Open 3 years ago as a fan, and then won yesterday, which again is like unbelievable.
The last couple, obviously, we've had like the Irish Open with obviously Rory nearly winning it, and then obviously, you know, having all these Spaniards, you know, fighting out for the Spanish Open is just like, it's mental.
It shouldn't be that much of a shock, really, but it is quite surprising how many times in these national opens the players from that country are always at the top. You know, it makes you almost think of it like, if they can get that, you know, there's an additional thing to them there that's really like hype them up or make them want to play better. But they can't necessarily take that into. It's something about just playing in your national open is, you know, and especially the Spanish. Like, you know, the amount of times they spoke to Rahm and how many times they bring it back to Seve and all that kind of, like, you know, that groundwork that he laid out for Spanish golf. You speak about, like, the, you know, the passion that it brings out, and you watch these events. I do think with the Spanish there's a little bit more heritage and there's a little bit more needle to it for them.
Yeah, I mean, Hidalgo is probably the most stereotypical Spanish golfer that you're ever going to see in your life.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much flair and like incredible short game. He played an amazing like long flop shot during the final round where he was completely out of position, ended up having a birdie. And like I said, it was just constantly exciting to watch. You know, this wasn't a group of like vanilla tour pros, all with great swings, you know, fairways, greens, holes and putts. Like, they were all kind of everywhere at some point, and the course did help them and bring that out as well. So.
I've never seen that course before.
They've held it there last few years.
I didn't.
Madrid.
No, it's cool.
Your Spanish accent.
It was interesting as well. What Rahm was saying, kind of to add to you, Jacob, was like, he was saying that, like, I now feel like it's my responsibility to make sure that I'm at these events, especially when they were talking to Rahm, like, you know, making sure that it's my responsibility to make sure that Spanish golf stays on the map, and, you know, that we're representing it. So it's very cool.
I think
because he didn't need to be there. Let's be honest. He just literally won like 18 million, you know, for the live. So he didn't need to be there.
Kind of like plays to me the fact that John is still so set on, like, he wants to play. He doesn't matter about the money. Like, it is more to him about the tournament that he wins, or like just being remembered for doing these types of things. I'm not saying that it's like he did make a bad decision, but I do wish it was nice to see him again, like, back on these events and back playing.
It was cool. Yeah.
I would be, in all fairness, I would be actually more skeptical about that if this week, like, he literally, he just had.
He had a kid.
Just had a kid.
Yeah, he had a child.
He got in on Wednesday, didn't he?
Yeah.
To the actual event.
Yep.
So, like you said, like, he could have easily swerved it.
Yeah.
Said, you know what?
You know, he wanted to be there.
Spend it at home, spend it with the family. So yeah, it's interesting, and you do need that support from the big players for these big events. Yeah, you know, you're looking at Rory going to the Irish Open. You know, it's a big pull for a DP World Tour, European Tour event. Yeah.
Well, look at this week. We're going into Dunhill. Look at the people that are coming over to play.
Yeah,
like
Brooks is playing that.
Yeah.
Brooks is playing.
Is he coming over? Is he? Wow.
Brooks is playing. Yeah.
Are you excited?
I am. It's his favourite course.
He's going to be in. Like, he's going to be on the same island that we're on.
I know.
Oh, God.
It's just a car journey away.
Oh my God.
It's only a 4-hour drive away.
Oh man. But yeah, like, in all fairness, like, this end of the year with this strategic partnership that they've got as well, like the back end of the year for DP World Tour is huge.
Yeah.
Like,
This is really
players. Because PJ Tour is like, it's not stopped. There are events at the end of the year, but it's kind of stopped.
Pretty much done. Yeah.
It's stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to package it, aren't they? Like the full swing of like whatever it is. I don't know. It's not. I'm not watching it.
I don't know what the acronym will be, but it does seem like this time of the year is everyone who's not quite got in the big events throughout the rest of the year come playing these because the big players aren't going to be here, so you got a chance of winning some money.
Yeah,
That's a long acronym.
It's a
Yeah.
very long acronym.
Series.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it starts like PGA Tour starts getting like when it's like the Florida swing sort of thing when it goes back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got the first initial event in Hawaii.
Yeah, to be fair, like Tournament Champions is pretty good. To be fair, Sony Open as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. For me, it kind of starts kicking off at Phoenix. That's
Yeah.
right. That's the first one for me. It's like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. To be fair, that's good.
So it's like February, isn't
talking
it?
about Florida. Well, talking about sort of America. Have you seen the damage to Augusta?
Yeah, so, I mean, Hurricane Helene, I think, I might be wrong, but I think it was the most powerful hurricane recorded to hit like the Florida basin when it kind of made landfall. So it's moved up through Florida, it's gone right through the middle of Georgia, kind of clipped Carolina, and now it's in Tennessee, so it's going like straight up. Hundreds of people have died so far. Like thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people like without power, displaced, like not in contact with anybody. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's terrible what's happening. Obviously, from what we talk about is golf. If you're affected, our thoughts kind of go out to you. And it's actually kind of hit and started to damage courses that we know, that everybody knows.
Yeah.
So, for example, the Magnolia Lane at Augusta, one of the most famous driveways in golf.
Just
That's
called-
the thing.
It's just called Lane now.
It's
I think.
called Lane, yeah. They're missing magnolias.
Yeah.
Quite a few have come down. Race Creek, going through the course, is a river, basically. And it's suffered huge amounts of damage. I must admit, the clips that we've seen and the comments, not overly sympathetic
No.
to Augusta. It is a very wealthy club. They will recover. And definitely properly the thoughts of everyone are with the people being affected around it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it is quite kind of shocking to see when you know something so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something that you know so well because of how pristine and how like untouched and just like perfect it is.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now it's just been literally ripped apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's only the driveway, like the drone footage. Someone just stuck a drone up that we can see. What the rest of the course is fully like, we don't really know.
There's a couple of pictures I've seen and it's not great. Like there is a lot of trees down. As you say, Rays Creek is very, very wet now.
Would you remember a couple of years ago during the Masters when a few
The tree
trees
fell-
That
yeah.
tree fell.
Yeah.
God, that was scary. That
That was scary.
So and that's not hurricane force winds by any means. So
No.
there is an issue there with some of the trees falling.
Do you reckon
so.
they're not very deep rooted?
It's just more the ground. It's more the ground. Obviously, pine trees as well for the most part, which are at Augusta. They're so tall.
Yeah.
If one of them starts to go, it can take more down with it. But it's not just like the wind; it's the rain as well. So we were at Bobby Jones Golf Club in Georgia just after the Creator Cup. Did a bit of filming there. The entire golf course is now underwater,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
and it's weird. Like you don't. With things like that, I suppose you don't really understand the scale of the damage if you've not been there.
Well, we don't do hurricanes here. We
No.
don't know what, we see the pictures and we see what it's like, but we don't really kind of fully appreciate, especially when we have like a bad downpour and we'll think, bloody hell,
Yeah,
but
like-
we've not had anything like that.
We've seen Didsbury underwater. We've seen Didsbury Bloomington underwater.
So that's the thing. Like you see those courses there that are on the floodplain. When they are underwater, you're like, oh wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But the Bobby Jones course where we went, like it has a river just running to the side of it, or a creek. It's not like a huge one. So that's obviously what's kind of come over and all the rest of it. But in my head, I'm like, there's absolutely no way that there's been enough rain coming over that to cover it to the depth of the grass. Just like imagining.
How much water
Like-
that has to be.
Yeah. Like a few weeks ago, I was literally playing those holes, and now if I went back, I'd have to swim through them.
Yeah.
It's
It's
crazy.
like
Yeah.
absolute madness. And obviously, there's more than just Georgia which has been affected. So yeah, it's kind of
Well, you said like North Carolina as well, isn't it? North Carolina.
yeah. It's
Florida.
just I think for looking at the map, obviously, we're not over there. We don't fully know. It kind of looks like it's just clipped it. Like it's more through the middle of Georgia that it's kind of gone. But yeah, man. So I saw I think George put some on his stories about how a few trees had come down at his house,
Right.
and he's just over the border. He's near Augusta actually.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
crazy. So yeah, if you're affected,
Yeah, so stay safe as well.
Okay, so that's pretty much everything done. We've covered all of the world of golf. We've covered a natural disaster.
We have, yeah.
And what we are up to in 40 minutes.
40 minutes of... That's it. That's the most...
like we've done it all in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
right,
the
sorry,
most
I thought-
concise we've ever been.
Yeah.
That's actually extraordinary.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah.
have 20 minutes to fill if you want to get it to an hour.
Oh, should we just talk about something...
How's your game getting on?
Yeah.
How's the game
Yeah.
getting on?
Yeah.
Well, I am practicing a lot now.
Yeah.
So I've got, like I said, a few days ago started a 30-day kind of project to get myself ready for this event in the middle of October. It's not bad. Swing's actually feeling and looking quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, your driving was pretty.
Did it
very,
was
very,
it good
very
at
impressive.
Didsbury?
Very, very impressive. Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't, because obviously
Yeah.
you drove it amazing at Wentworth. Like
Yeah.
one of the best days I've ever seen you drive it.
Yeah, that was. I must admit that was good.
Yeah, really good.
Because if you start to get it going sideways at Wentworth as well, there's going to be
Yeah,
a lot
you've
of
got a bit of problem.
big problems going on. But yeah, drove it great, chipped and pitched amazing. That was probably the strongest bit.
Yeah.
It's the only advantage when it gets to this time of year around Manchester, though, is for the most part you can just flop it up,
Yeah.
drop it near the pin.
Your
Right,
number
yeah,
is
yeah.
the hole.
It's gonna stop.
Yeah.
So that was one advantage. But yeah, like I said, hold out a few times.
Yeah.
So
And if there's any golf coaches, whoever, who want to work with Pete really, really wants to learn how to shallow out his shots with wedges and not take 50-foot divots. So if you can help him with that, that would also be great.
nah, mate, isn't it now? I think I'm gonna make that my thing.
That you just take huge divots.
Well, like you got Ben Krupa like being Paul's king, stuff
Uh-huh.
like that.
You're
I'm just gonna
divot.
be the divot
Dude.
divot dude,
Greenkeeper's gonna love you. Greenkeeper's gonna love
the
you.
divot man. Oh man.
Well, and then also, I think Thursday we've got quite a big video going out. Is that right? Oh, it's not anymore.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, right.
Maybe.
Oh, right.
You know what? I don't think we've actually talked about this at all.
People know if they've been on socials, but no, we haven't said anything.
So something that we get asked literally all the time is when we're going to film with Rick Shields, when we're going to do it again. Normally it's at the moment once, twice a year. But I think now we have 3 videos between me and Rick in the bank, which are going to be coming out.
And maybe more.
And
soon.
maybe more. So they are coming very soon. We're just trying to figure out the schedule. It was the Seb on Golf Invitational, like I said, 2 weeks ago. And Seb is making a big overarching video of the whole challenge. It's going to be an incredible video. I absolutely shudder to think what that edit is like. for them.
Yeah.
I don't think you didn't have great weather, did you?
Well, it's just more.
I just don't want to.
It's over like 3 days. There's, 16 people,
All mic'd.
all mic'd up,
Yeah.
5 cameras. Honestly, I don't know how they're going to do it, but
Yeah.
but what we're waiting for is they're still kind of churning through the edit, so we're just waiting for that video, so we know the date, we know when it's posted, and then everyone who's made videos around the event, they're all being posted as well.
Oh, right. Okay. So he's got to go first.
Yeah,
Right.
so-
right. Okay. Got you.
So the idea was like we'd all make these videos, that'd be released, which would act as a starting gun effectively for this is the content that's coming out, and then all our videos kind of feed back and talk about there as for So
Yeah.
it's like an all-encompassing thing.
Got you.
It
That's
is an
probably
interest-
fair enough.
Yeah.
It's probably fair enough.
I think we'll give after Seb managed to do the impossible and organise 16 YouTubers to be in the same place at one point on a private jet. Like we'll give him this.
This was one of the things that came out of that, though, and I think it's something that UK golf YouTube creators don't do as well as America do, in that they are always together. They're always filming together. They go away on trips together. They do. This was the first time we went somewhere and I was like, oh my God, it's like 17, 16 people all doing the same thing in one place. And our country's smaller than America. It should be easier for us to be able to just do these weeks. And like I say, when this video comes out, which is going to be unbelievable, then everyone is going to fire out all these videos and all this content.
Yeah.
There's going to be collaborations between all the guys in the UK. And it needs to be done more. We need to do it more. Like, need to do these weeks where we'll just say, we'll go out here. Because how easy is it? Everyone's there, you go in, and it's just a case of you walk in at breakfast and you go, oh, are you free for 18 holes this afternoon? Or whatever it might be. And it's something that we need to do over this side better, as what the America do. That's what I think, anyway. Yeah?
Power to the YouTube.
Power
people.
to the UK,
Great team,
you
yeah.
know. Because this used to be Manchester was the powerhouse of YouTube golf.
This is where it used to be. People will look back at Manchester like they look back at the Industrial Revolution.
I think so.
And say,
that was it.
This is where it started.
Yeah. On like Welcome to Manchester signs,
there'll be blue plaques.
Yeah.
And like people come and like, you know, when they're like 80.
On your house, you get a blue.
I want a blue plaque.
Peter Finch lived here.
I want a blue plaque. It's literally all of
The
them.
pioneer of YouTube golf.
I'm pretty like sanguine about kind of everything. You know, my view on life is pretty stand-backish.
Yeah.
It just goes on, whatever. Having a blue plaque.
That is
That's, I don't think it's not really a US thing, but if you ever come to London and you ever walk around London, there's a blue plaque on like literally every house. You know, so and so lived here who invented the, I don't know, Wellington boot or whatever. It's just basically there's a blue plaque on so many houses.
Yeah.
All I want is just a blue plaque.
But it's obviously it's around the country everywhere, but London is like
London, yeah.
because everyone was there.
There's one blue plaque in Didsbury. That's all I'm saying.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh.
For Walter Carroll, who's a composer or something.
Oh, nice.
What was that one we saw in Scotland? It was like who made penicillin or something like that, wasn't it?
Oh, in Darvel, mate.
Darvel, yeah. Was
Yeah,
it Darvel? Yeah. That was cool.
There's another one as well. It was like it was in one of the towns across. I can't remember what it was, and I think it's maybe the one you're thinking of. And it was his claim to fame essentially was like he was a friend of Robert Burns or something.
A friend of Robert Burns' house.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
Oh, in San Quaha.
San
Quaha.
That's it.
That's what it was.
So that's all I want. I just want a blue plaque. I suppose I could just get my own.
Yeah.
There's the Tommy Taylor one, isn't there? That's just down the road from Old Trafford, where he used to live.
I'm not sure.
That's opposite the cricket ground. Yeah, I've seen. I could go past that one a few times.
Yeah.
There you go.
Would yours be like? Well, you know, you don't particularly live in a like. Not a lot of people walk past your house. Would you say? You know, so it's kind of like it's a deep cut. It's like
you have to go find it.
Yeah,
That'd be fine. That'd be absolutely fine. But
I don't know if the people who now live in that house after you've gone will be happy about it.
like, well, why? What a crap blue plaque to have on our house. But you know what? This is what I mean. We've not peaked yet. We have not done everything that needs to be done.
Yeah.
We're on our hill, not our mountain.
We're
yet.
on the hill. Yeah, we're on the hill, looking back at how well we've done, giving ourselves a little pat on the back, but we're looking up at the mountain. We've got a flag in our hands, ready to plant it.
I like it. Have we killed enough time yet?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Right,
Cool.
guys, thank you so much for listening. Follow the podcast if you haven't already. Go onto our social medias. Give those a follow as well. If you are watching and you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, then quite frankly, I'm disgusted with you. If you are listening and you haven't gone over to our YouTube channel and subscribe, please do so now. There you go.
Lovely.
That's it.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye.